Fellas, MMA is the sport that we're all religiously watching, the sport that we're all here for, the sport that we all love, but there's multiple different MMA promotions out there. Some of them are absolutely terrible and they're going to be chucked in D tier, and then some of the promotions are going to be in S tier, or basically compared to the UFC, because that's the only promotion I'm going to put in S tier, because the UFC is going to be kind of the comparable promotion for the rest of these other little smaller companies and smaller promotions. So yeah, S tier to D tier, I'm going to be ranking all the kind of big MMA promotions as well as some of the more local ones and fairly well-known ones. So yeah, let me know if I've missed any major MMA promotions out. Starting off with the first one on this list, we've got Cage Warriors. Now, for me, Cage Warriors, listen, it's not one of those promotions that you sit down and you watch and you get excited for, but I must say, Cage Warriors have made for some really good fighters that have now joined the UFC. I'm going to put it in B tier. They've funded, well, Conor McGregor came from Cage Warriors, obviously the biggest star in the sport. Tom Aspinall, the interim champion, Paddy Pimblett as well. Ilia Topuria has come from Cage Warriors, and those are only a handful of fighters that have come from Cage Warriors to the UFC. So I think it's one of the best European promotions because of the amount of prospects they've funded, and because of that, I've got to give them credit. So yeah, a lot of good fighters have come from here, but again, with that being said, no one sits down and gets excited for a Cage Warriors card. It's kind of just there existing. It's nothing, you know, insanely special at the end of the day, but yeah, Cage Warriors, if you're a fan of UK MMA, or, you know, MMA in the UK and Ireland and Europe, and you want to look at these local cards every now and then, I guess that's the promotion for you. But yeah, B tier for Cage Warriors. Then we've got ONE FC. Now, ONE FC, I'm going to put it in A tier. I think it is one of the best MMA promotions in the world outside of the UFC. In fact, I might argue that it is the best. ONE FC is insane. I think it's a really, really fun promotion. I think the entire structure of ONE FC is absolutely incredible, and they definitely do things better than the UFC when it comes to like the structure of the MMA that they do. On top of that, they've got Demetrius Johnson. That alone should have to, you know, you've got to give them credit for having Demetrius Johnson. That alone has to boost them in this tier list up to an A tier. And I think a lot of the champions that they have, it's not just one of these MMA promotions that have really low tier, you know, uncompetitive fighters. They've got some super competitive fighters that I think would have some high-level competitive fights even in the UFC. So for that reason, the fact that they've got Demetrius Johnson, they're a really fun promotion. I love the thing that they did where they did the, you know, the crossfight with Rod Tang and Demetrius Johnson. So for ONE FC, I'm going to put it in A tier. I think it's one of my favourite MMA. Like, whenever there's a stacked ONE FC card, I actually get excited for that the same way I get excited for some UFC cards, because ONE FC is just that good. Yeah, one of my favourite promotions out there. I'm going to put ONE FC in A tier. Honestly, great promotion. Then we've got PFL. I'm going to put PFL in B tier, but I'm going to put it above Cage Warriors. I know there's going to be people out there crying about the fact that these promotions are even on the same tier. PFL's not a bad promotion. It's kind of like the new promotion around the block for prospects, similar to how I said Cage Warriors is the home of the prospects in like the UK and Europe. PFL is basically that, but around the world. I know they have PFL Europe as well. I mean, Lewis McGrillen's one prospect that I'm excited to watch, and he's in PFL as well. But no, they have some really good fighters, and I think in the next few years, we're going to see a lot of fighters come from PFL to the UFC. It's a really solid promotion, I will admit. And it's basically just a dump for new prospects. I'm not really a big fan of the rules that they have, like the elbow rule that they have. I think there's a lot of rules in the rule set that could be changed around that I'm just not a big fan of. But it's the best promotion for new prospects. It's a solid promotion, and the fact that they've now signed, well, I say now signed it, they've signed them for a while now, but Francis Ngannou, it looks like with the way things that are going, we're going to see Francis Ngannou fighting in PFL against a heavyweight champion, and if that can happen, that might even be able to move PFL up to A tier, because that's a really solid move if they can bring Francis Ngannou over to PFL. And they even signed Jake Paul. I'm pretty sure they were supposed to do Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz on PFL as well, but obviously that didn't go through. And their recent cross promotion event that they did with Bellator, I really enjoyed that. That was very talked about as well, even though they got absolutely smoked. I will admit, PFL, they've got some alright fighters, nothing UFC level, but they've got a lot of prospects on there, and if they sign Francis Ngannou, that's only going to be better for them. So for PFL, fairly new promotion, but I'll put them in B tier for now. Next promotion we got Ryzen, one of the, you know, the Japanese promotions. It's not one of the best out there, let's be honest. It's not one of the best. They also did like a cross promotion with Bellator, but it didn't do that well. I'll put it in C tier. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone really cares about this promotion. I'm a bit of a casual when it comes to Ryzen. I don't watch the cards. I've watched about the only time I would ever watch Ryzen is for the prelims, because if you watch a Ryzen card, specifically like the prelims for these events, it can be the funniest thing you ever see, because you've just got like the most uncompetitive matchups. You've got one fighter who's only just got his professional license, and then a guy who's been doing Thai boxing for his whole life. Like, it's just super mixed with, like, it's just chaos essentially, this promotion. It's super chaotic, but the prelims in the undercard for this event is absolutely hilarious, and because of that, because of the comedic factor that they bring, I'm going to put it in C tier. But yeah, just another promotion that no one really cares about. I'm talking of no one cares about, KSW. I'll put it above Ryzen. I'm pretty sure they're like a Polish promotion or something like that, or yeah. KSW, though, it's kind of just meh. I mean, first of all, they don't have the whole, you know, bringing in prospects like PFL and Cage Warriors do. There's no prospects that are coming from KSW anymore to the UFC. It's kind of one of those, you know, just meh promotions. I mean, literally the heavyweight champion of KSW got smoked in the UFC, which just says a lot about the promotion. It's absolutely full of, like, steroid junkies, and it's just a roid fest, essentially. And I know most of the promotions that aren't UFC tend to have a lot of, you know, steroid junkies in it because it's not as high quality, but KSW especially, you can tell none of the fighters have ever been drug tested in their life in this promotion. So yeah, KSW, it's not a promotion that anyone really cares about. It's not a promotion that anyone really watches, so I'll put KSW in C tier. Yeah, kind of just there. Next promotion we got Eagle FC. Now, this is the promotion that Habib actually funded. Yeah, this is straight garbage. I don't even think this is still in business. Is Eagle FC still in business? The last time I heard about this promotion was like 2022. I don't even know if they're still in business, but if they are, they're obviously not doing business right, because I literally haven't heard of them. Habib, mate, you're a great fighter, you're a great coach, but you should stay away from opening up your own promotions, because this was horrible. Absolutely nothing came from this promotion. No solid fighters, no insane events, nothing special came from it. If this wasn't funded by Habib, this would have been shut down in an even shorter time. It probably wouldn't have even been funded in the first place. The best fighter to be on this promotion was like Kevin Lee, and that just says a lot about this promotion, to be honest. So Eagle FC, I don't think it's still in business, and if it is, it's gone to a shithole. So Eagle FC, I'm gonna have to put it in D tier. One of the worst MMA promotions. I don't know why Khabib was I don't know why he decided to do this, because it was a complete flop. Yeah, D tier for this event, or this promotion. Next promotion we got is Gamebred's Bareknuckle MMA. Now, this is another funded event, or funded promotion, similar to Habib's, but it's funded by, obviously, Masvidal. I actually really enjoyed this promotion. I'm going to put it in A tier. Something about Bareknuckle MMA, the fact that it's such a brutal, like, people alone, like, people who don't watch combat sports, they find MMA brutal. They find, you know, bare-knuckle boxing brutal. This is quite possibly one of the most brutal martial arts you can get, and this is like the epitome of violence. If you're a fan of violence, this is the promotion for you. And I think because Masvidal's always talking about violence and breaking people's orbital bones, this is, I think it makes sense for his brand as well. It is the most violent MMA promotion in the world. It's bloody, there's broken bones, and maybe people find it too brutal, but if you're not a soft MMA fan, this is one of the most funnest promotions to watch. And I think in the next few years, if this can really kick off, I think this has potential to be a really big promotion. So I'm going to put it in A tier. I really enjoy it, even though it's a fairly new promotion with the whole bare knuckle. I really enjoy this promotion. So I'm going to put Gamebred bare knuckle fighting in A tier. And then finally, we've got Bellator. For a long time, this has basically been the second biggest MMA promotion outside of the UFC, but it's fallen off. I'm going to put it in B tier, man. It's really fallen off. It used to be A tier, but it's really fallen off. I mean, it's always kind of just been the home for retired UFC fighters, but it's not even that anymore. If you've retired from the UFC, you go to BKFC, you don't even go to Bellator anymore. So it doesn't even have the whole, oh, you used to be in the UFC and now we can have you. Like, it's not even like, it used to be like the, you know, it'd have the crumbs of the UFC. It doesn't have that anymore. They've still got high-level fighters. They've probably got some of the most competitive fighters out of every promotion outside of the UFC, so I'll give them that. But and I like the cross-promotions that they're doing, but apart from that, yeah, it's a crumbling business. I think they got bought by PFL. I don't even know if they're still in business. Yeah, it's crumbling. The promotion, the advertising for the events are terrible. I don't know the last time I was ever, like, their advertising for their events is horrible. Like, there could be a big event and you've never heard of it. So Bellator, it was once a really good promotion, but it's seriously fallen off. B tier. But yeah, that is my ranking of MMA promotions. Like I said, let me know if I've missed out any major promotions, not just the small, shitey local ones. But yeah, that's my tier list. Let me know if you agree.